today's day 132 of Israel's brutal ethnic cleansing project of the Palestinians both in Gaza and in the West Bank. The population of Palestine was about 2.2 million before October 7th. Close to 30,000 confirmed dead. Many more still lie under the rubble. One expert compared the percentages of death of the whole population if this type of action were to take place in the United States. 16-odd billion people would have been killed. This is a travesty on a scale that is almost impossible to comprehend. And ladies and gentlemen, racism is ingrained not just in the American society or Western societies, but colonialism has left the stain of racism across the entire world. We saw the Western response to the war in Ukraine, where, whether you like it or not, and I am never a fan of war, soldiers have fought soldiers. Compare and contrast that and the response, the immediate response of the UN, of aid agencies, that say that they step in and intervene when war crimes are committed and the laws of war are broken. Immediately issued an arrest warrant for Putin. Immediately everyone condemned him. And the stark reality is the only real difference between the two peoples is the color of their skin and their religion and their point of view. It is a very sad day when the world can witness indiscriminate killing of brown, poor people, and yet, on the other hand, act self-righteous about the deaths of white Ukrainians or white Jewish people being insulted on college campuses, while brown Palestinian people are being killed, dismembered, limbs shot off, in hospitals being sniped at by Israeli snipers. Every single hospital in Gaza has been destroyed except for one, and they are bombing and shelling that hospital every single day. Since the assault on Rafah, something like 95 women and children have been slaughtered, and there are still 1.5 million people pushed up against the UN border. People like Elion Levy, this disgusting Goebbels apprentice propagandist for the state of Israel, is trying to smear UNRWA and also trying to claim that the UN has not picked up aid that is waiting to be distributed to Palestinians. Months ago, we were warned that Israel had a plan to destroy UNRWA, which is a UN agency that only takes care of Palestinian refugees, not because that was something they chose, but again, the word comes in, racism was the reason why Palestinians were not allowed to be on the same aid agency that takes care of the world's refugees, including Jewish refugees, and that is why in 1948 they didn't want Palestinians to be taken care of alongside their own refugees. How racist is that? How disgusting is that? And how racist is this world that can see, just based off of the skin color of the victims of slaughter and war, can care more about white death than they care about brown death, can care more about Christian death than they care about Muslim death, can care more about Jewish death than they care about the death of any other race, religion, ethnicity, anything in the world. They call themselves the chosen people. Take them at their word. This is privilege on a disgustingly massive scale. These are white people who do not face the type of prejudice that they claim because they can blend in to the Western world and receive the same kind of treatment that other white people enjoy, whereas someone with a different skin color would have a much harder time going through life in many areas of the world. Israel is not friendly to gays. Israel is not friendly to Christians. Israel is not friendly to their own citizens who object this abhorrent slaughter. Israel puts them in prison as well. Israel is currently torturing something around 12,000 Palestinian civilians in their death camps that they call jails. This is an occupying power that is ethnically cleansing the people that they have occupied for decades. Zionism was created in the 1800s. It is an ethno-nationalist identity. It is an idea, and the repercussions of Zionism were warned about in the late 1800s by good Jewish people, a lot of religious Jewish people who said you cannot establish a Jewish state in a land that is already occupied, because you will be fighting the people in that land that you're trying to occupy forever. No one leaves their indigenous land without being forced to. So we see the same horror every single day, and the only thing that changes is the propaganda coming from Israel's Hasbara department. Their Hasbara is weak. It is not flying anymore. It is empty, and we see through it. I can only hope the people in Rafah and the people in Gaza, because there's many other parts of Gaza that are still struggling, can at least receive food. And hopefully they will be given some kind of reprieve from this decades-long oppression, this decades-long tyranny that has sought to make their lives so miserable that they just leave the land to the Israelis. That has been the goal of the project. Benjamin Netanyahu has never supported a two-state solution. When Hamas was elected in 2005, Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government prevented any other elections from 2005 until now. They kept Hamas in power, first forcing the people to invite in a violent group, a violent resistance group, because they tried peaceful resistance for decades, and every single time Israeli snipers, Israeli tanks, and Israeli planes killed innocent civilians. So some of them chose to go a different route, and wouldn't you if you were in the exact same situation? If what is happening in Gaza to the Palestinian people happened in America to the Americans, the percentage of people who would have died as compared to the percentage of the population of Palestine that has already been killed would be 16.8 billion people. Add on top of that every hospital destroyed, every university destroyed, aid agencies defunded and dismantled, and then they want to complain that aid hasn't been picked up. They cause these problems and then they blame them on someone else. This is evil. There's no other word for it. The devil is behind this, and these are the troops. These are the worshippers of Satan and Mammon and Baal